You stop that. You stop that right now. Oh, hello. My name is James. Welcome to Mirror Domains, and this is an If and I Saw the TV Glow live movie reviews. So, I know that this is typically not when we're streaming. Usually we take the weekends off because it's a long weekend in the States and stuff like or in North America. So, thought that we would just jump on, and I just got back from seeing If, and I thought I would go through my formal review. And then I saw the TV Glow yesterday. I didn't feel like turning on the camera. And we'll talk about these two movies today. So if you haven't seen If or I Saw the TV Glow, I'm not going to spoil. There's not much to spoil here, guys. Stick around, and we'll be talking about that. And then we'll take a look at some of the headlines, quick headlines, and see what's going on in the realm of the movie and entertainment movie news headlines. And this will be chopped up and put out separately later on. All right, let's get into it. Shall we? If stars Ryan Reynolds and is written and directed by John Krasinski. If is about a movie. A young girl who goes through a difficult experience begins to see everyone's imaginary friends who have been left behind as their real life friends have grown up. And the girl in this, Kaylee Fleming, does a pretty good job. The immediate standout here is that the acting is fairly competent, and we should expect that from John Krasinski because he did A Quiet Place Part 1 and Part 2, right? In which he proved to us that he can take a small little concept and just totally deliver. Now, if you saw the trailers for this and were kind of like, well, this looks like should be reasonably fun. It's got some CGI creatures in there. The voice acting seems to be on point, which it is. And I like Ryan Reynolds. And I like this concept of imaginary friends. Now, this movie does have some dramatic tension in there that may not be for everybody. As you noted there in the premise, a young girl goes through some difficult experiences. Basically, death. And if you are worried about it being a little too close to the concept in Inside Out, where you've got to say goodbye to your imaginary friends, it's actually not like that at all. My major criticism with this film is that it's got some pacing issues in here, especially during the second act, where it's kind of like, where are we going with the story? Are you going to actually definitively come down and say something? And it does. It just takes a long time to get there. It's luckily held together by the young girl and Ryan Reynolds, who have a great rapport. It doesn't have a few kind of like twists and turns in there, some reveals that are kind of unexpected. Yeah, and I felt like that worked. But it just, towards the end, is kind of like, well, guys, you should have revealed that stuff earlier because I would have been more, well, engaged with it. It just kind of lingers too long. And that just goes to the running time of it being an hour and 44 minutes. If this had like 10 minutes chopped out, I think it would have been a little bit tighter, and I think it would have been a little bit better received than that 6.8 that we see there on the IMDb score. I will go over and take a look at the tomato meter here in just a minute, but at first I want to pull up my little score sheet and fill in some numbers. If you don't know, acting, directing, and story are out of a possible 2 points each. Cinematography and score are 1 point, if any. Acting is good from the young girl. Acting is good from Ryan Reynolds, so that's 2 performances right there. The voice acting is competent. It's just kind of, well, there's nothing in there that screams Oscar worthy or anything like that. Directing, the visual effects are very well integrated into this. Not as good as, say, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, but it's meant for kids. It does have some story issues in here, so I gotta knock the directing for that. The story here. some people might be a little bit betrayed by this. If you saw like The Bridge to Terabithia or something like that, where they've sold you about this coming of age story, and they sold you that bill of goods, and then it turns out to be about death, and it takes some turns. Some people may feel that uh, kind of reaction. It's like, is this what I signed up for? Is this what you're going to be giving me? What's the message of what you're trying to sell me here? And that could be a reaction you will get by watching If. It's kind of like, um, what are you trying to tell me here with this story? I don't know if I like it. But John Krasinski's charming in this, and Ryan Reynolds is also really good in this. Story wise, though, it kind of lacks that punch that Inside Out had about the imaginary friend kind of thing. It kind of lacked that. It was trying to do that, and it does hit some notes. So if you haven't seen other movies like this, and this is your first kind of introduction to the concept of imaginary friends and stuff, and coming of age and stuff, then this will probably work for you. But for me, it was kind of like middle of the road. So with that being said, I'll say one, cinematography was competent. The score actually stood out to me in this one. So I'm going to give the score a full point here. And I feel like there's going to be times in here where you'll be like humming along with it's very cinematic in its scope. So yeah, full point for that. That's putting us around 5.5, and I'm feeling good about that right now. Let's go over to the tomato meter and see what other people are saying about this movie, If. Oh, yeah. 50% by the critics, 85% by the audience, so there's a big disparity there. Critics are not liking this, and probably for the reasons that I said. Some pacing issues in there, themes, like what are you trying to say here exactly, right? And if you're not like paying that much attention to like story structure and how the narrative is unfolding, like if you're not being that critical, then you're probably going to like this. 85% by the audience. Let's see if some of the snapshot reviews here corroborate what we're saying here. Reefer Guzman says, sweet and sincere, though not the heart squeezer it could have been, but he liked it. Chicago Reader didn't like it. If is an imaginary friend that's best left unseen. Audience, people who liked it. It was an adorable movie. Definitely enjoyed it a lot more than I originally thought it would be. Was a tearjerker, and I cannot wait to watch it again. Well, it's not really a tearjerker, but let's go and take a look at some of the other critics. So the audience is liking it. Let's see if anybody jumps out at me here name-wise, and we'll take a look at their reviews. Richard Roper didn't like it. This well-intentioned and intermittently clever blend of live action and animation is so murky and slow-paced, the grown-ups will get restless while it falls short when it comes to creating truly memorable CGI characters and providing a true sense of joy. I have to admit, there were a couple times during the second act where I did look at my watch. And that goes to the slow pacing there in the second act. So he's knocking it for that. That just goes into what my earlier criticism was. So, yeah. Anybody else in here that we recognize? I'm looking for somebody like a Stuckman or a Jeremy Johns. Alonzo, I'm sorry, but your review for Strangers, or was it Strangers? Yeah, or no, Furiosa. I didn't like that. Okay, Wendy Lee Zaney, we trust her. The story is very heartfelt and has a lot of touching moments. Can definitely see the angle Krasinski was going for. Would have liked to see more lighthearted moments rather than being weighed down by the serious tone. And there's like a side story with another kid inside the hospital that kind of really doesn't go anywhere. That totally like if you cut that storyline out of the movie, you wouldn't felt like you've lost anything from the main focus of the story. So that's what I mean. Like it goes off in these little side tangents that really bog down the pacing of the middle of the film. New York Times. What's more impressive, Krasinski's imagination or the very real friends in his Rolodex? So, yes, you could tell from the voice roll call in this that there's a lot of famous people in this, and they came out to bat because they're all friends. And what's wrong with that? I got nothing wrong with that. I'm not knocking it for that at all. Some people are, and I find that your criticism on that to be a little bit. Well, repugnant, if you don't mind me saying, if you don't mind me being so bold. All right. Nobody else is jumping out at me here. Bibiani. There's somebody who jumps out. It's totally discombobulated and nowhere near as enchanting as Michael Giacchino's score seems to think it is. Yeah, and he's giving a nod to the score there as well. That's why I gave that a full point, because the score does kind of they do a very good job of using the same theme over and over again, kind of like like their version of the Imperial March kind of thing. So that worked for me. All right, so you get the picture here. Pacing, a little bit of the voices, but overall, I would say that 50% is low. 85 is a little bit high for if. Let's go to my score sheet and round this out for my final score, because we were sitting at 5.5 before going into this, right? So the watchability factor, if you are curious about John Krasinski or Ryan Reynolds and see what they want to go or what they're doing with this property, I would say go to see it for that. I would say that it's worthwhile seeing in the theater for sure. Would I watch it again? I'm not going to go out, and I'm not running to go out and watch this again. 6.5 that's where that brings us. Can I give it any more? I'd be struggling to find out where. Could I give it to cinematography maybe? It is beautifully shot. It's luscious, but there's nothing in like big sweeping shots or anything like that. I guess when they go into sort of an imaginary world, that was kind of interesting. Could I bump that up for cinematography and give us a 7 out of 10? I feel a little bit more comfortable giving it a 7 out of 10. So I think I will, because of those imaginary sequences that were very heavily influenced by things like Labyrinth, Alice or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where it's kind of like, okay, we're going down a huge rabbit hole here, and it's just kind of like letting your imagination go. But it does have some story issues. It does have some pacing issues, and 7 out of 10 feels right about for me. And I think that's where I'm landing. 7 out of 10 for If. What do you guys think? Have you gone out to see it? Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, and we will talk about it. Luke Gossett Jr., there. Is this one of his final performances? I think so, right? He's just in the voice cast because, as I said earlier, the voice cast in this is fairly extensive. There's no mid-credit scene in here or anything like that. Steve Carell is Blue. Lewis is Luke Gossett Jr. May he rest in peace. So, yeah. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments and we will talk about it. Hey, if you like to talk movies and such, we're about to review an abstract art house film called I Saw the TV Glow. And of course, here on the channel, we talked about the new Superman suit. Watched trailers for The Rings of Power Season 2, House of the Dragon 2, Megalopolis, movie reviews for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, The Strangers Chapter 1, and Tarot. I need to update that. Fallout, full series reactions, and then we do movie news throughout the week where we talk about all the trending movie news headlines out there, guys. And now we're going to talk about I Saw the TV Glow. You're watching Mirror Domains. Yes. All right. I got to update that file of news slides. I want to take out tarot and I want to put in, yeah, I'll put in both of those, and I want to put in strangers. Yeah. Okay, so Planet of the Apes will be number 8. I Saw the TV Glow will be number 7. If will be number 6. And Strangers will be number 5, because we just saw Strangers. You guys can't see what I'm doing here. I'm just updating the thumbs here. That should be better now. Yeah, there we go. Should be better. Should be? No? Yes? All right, maybe... yeah, no, I like that. What's wrong with that? All right. Maybe I need to update the slides. Just give me a second. Okay, that worked. And I got to update the posters as well because I want to... That's why. Okay, update the posters. Put up our movie review tab. I thought I was being fairly generous on the if. But now we're going to be talking about I Saw the TV Glow. Very interesting picture indeed. And it's getting warm now. Hey, it's middle of May. Starting to get hot outside. I'm going to have to figure out some kind of thing to put on the fan. But whatever. Okay. Let's talk about this. Hmm, 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 hmm. I saw the TV Glow. I went to an art house theater yesterday to see this art house film that's very, very artsy, guys. I Saw the TV Glow. Is in theaters right now. 2 teenagers bond over their love of a supernatural TV show, but it is mysteriously canceled. Now, if you saw the trailers for this, it looked very psychedelic, kind of very trippy. And I gotta say, I got tones of early David Lynch in here, like shades of Videodrome a little bit. But it was also a coming of age story that I at first thought was going to be all about coming to terms with your sexual identity. But I think it's trying to tell a story under the guise of sexual identity. And I think ultimately at the end, the film is trying to talk about mental illness. But it uses this concept of these 2 teenagers that are infatuated with this TV show called The Pink Opaque. And it's kind of like their memories of it are different as they age throughout time, kind of thing. And why I say that it's about mental illness is because it's very clear early on the girl has got something not quite right. And as I was trying to articulate, it has to do with the way that she's perceiving the show, and she feels like an outcast because she herself hasn't quite come to terms with who she is, and perhaps is struggling with something up here. And that's why when she's talking about her orientation and her preferences, it's kind of like on the surface level, that's what this movie would appear to be about. So, the way that this narrative unfolds is very, very artsy. So, if you don't like art house films, you don't like the pacing of that kind of stuff, it's very, I would have to say, almost very neo-noir. It's got really interesting pacing. The standouts here are the performances from this girl. I think she was in Bill and Ted Face the Music. But Justice Smith here does a very interesting performance where he's talking like this throughout the entire movie, like at a higher voice, and it's very it's very interesting. You're like, I don't know if I like this. Can he sustain this throughout the entire film? Justice Smith, yeah, right. Bridget Lundy Payne is Maddie, and it flashes through different time periods. Um, that's probably the best part about it. The worst part is its messaging and the way that things unfold. Now, I call this an art house film. It's for the very, very artsy type of folk. Me saying that will probably turn off and make you say, well, how dare you call me an artsy fartsy person? But this is like the audience that is meant for, because this is not a mainstream movie. And based on that, I am going to rank it and critique it on a different scale because of the narrative unfolding in such a way where it's kind of like we now cut away for a musical number that's sort of like a music video, and I dug it. I liked it. In fact, it is totally worthwhile to look up on either YouTube Music. I would say YouTube Music because that's what I have. The soundtrack, because it's got some very interesting needle drops. Psychic Wound is the one that stood out for me. I'll give that the old thumbs up. But you could tell, like, we're watching an indie kind of film here, and it's going to incorporate a lot of indie other types of art, such as music and TV shows and stuff like that. And I felt like I'm digging what I'm seeing here, but it is a tough watch. It's not something where you'll be like, I appreciate the artistry going on here, what the director's trying to do. I do. But it's not something that you'll be like, it's not like a Videodrome. It's not like Lynch style, but there are things in there that you can see, okay, this is what, I can see where you were inspired by these things, right? But at the end of the day, I think it does come down to mental illness. She's got a really powerful monologue here in a tent sequence where she talks about life and her perception of reality and stuff like that, where I think it becomes painfully clear it's about mental illness. I saw the TV glow. Let's pull up my score sheet here because it's going to be a little bit different to go through because of those aspects that I talked about, where it's not the same as like a traditional style film. So, here we go. Movie score sheet. Acting, directing, and story are out of a possible 2 points each. Cinematography and score are 1 point each. Acting. Now, there's nothing in here that's Oscar worthy or anything like that, but it does have Justice Smith's performance in here that is kind of like, okay. And Lundy Payne there does a good job. So based on that, it's deadpan acting though. Don't expect a whole lot of emotions. There are a few scenes where they are allowed to let go, and I found that those were a little bit jarring. So when I look at the directing and the execution of all this, it's good. I just I know because it's so art house. It's kind of like, it's hard to find exactly, does it do a great job of putting across its story, its message and its themes? I think it does. Like, it makes more than one statement about society and coming to terms with who you are. It's not one singular theme that it's zeroing in on. At least that's the way that I felt that it was. It's worth the look if you are into this kind of stuff, for sure. But it's not going to be for everybody. If you are looking for a traditional narrative kind of thing to unfold, it's not quite like that. And the ending is going to be not ambiguous, but not exactly what people will want, if I can say that. Cinematography. I'm going to give cinematography a full point here because uh, they use like this old school method of like shooting TV shows and incorporate that into the better part of the movie. But then I would like to knock it back down to point 0.5 because the movie is very, at points, flashy. And I mean, like, if you've got problems with your eyes, like getting flashiness in your eyes, like seizures and stuff, there's a lot of that in the beginning of this film. So be note take note of that. But like the color palette is worth seeing. The score worked for me too, so I think I'm going to give that a full point because of that soundtrack that we were just talking about, right? That's what I'm going to have to say. So that puts us at 5.5, and I think it's about that. Let's go over to the tomato meter and see what people are saying about I Saw the TV Glow. 84% by critics, 62% by the audience. Yes. It's still got one of my favorite lines of the year, where it's like, where they look at the show when they're older. They look at the Pinko Peg, and it's like, it's not exactly what we remembered it. And it's kind of like I had that with the Transformers, where it's like, I thought the Transformers was awesome. You go back and watch season 1 of G1. It's extremely rough around the edges, man. Like two Starscreams in the same shot because they didn't have enough money to pull to animate. Top critic, Washington Post. Director Jane Schoenbrunn blurs the lines between reality and fantasy with an intoxicating Lynchian flair. So making the comparison to David Lynch as well. Uh, San Jose Mercury News. I Saw the TV Glow captures the awkward outcast feeling of finding more meaning and context within a TV show than one's life, struggling to break free of an assigned gender and identity that isn't who one is inside. So they're trying to grasp at what the movie's about too. But by those comments, I don't think you really understood it as well. Let's see what the fans are saying here. Not quite sure how I feel about the ending, with how the slow build up equated to the payoff, but it's still a really interesting movie. I'm glad I saw. I Saw the TV Glow is one of a kind film. Never in all life have I felt or so seen by a film. So Jane Schoenbrunn has created is something I feel privileged to have witnessed. This may have become one of my favorites. Well, so that seems like a very art house kind of person who, well, that's again, I want to like pigeonhole somebody in who probably would turn their nose up at something like Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, right? Like this is that's the type of audience that this film is made for. But because we are serious full movie fans here, we look at all the genres and everything, right? That's how comprehensive I like to try to be. Let's take a look at some of the other reviews here. CBC News. Uh, I Saw the TV Glow's vision is topped only by a obviously deliberate execution, but it's a nearly inscrutable metaphor hidden beneath miles of 90s pop art symbolism. It both asks too much of its audience while offering too few rewards for the effort. Yeah, and there is a storyline in here um, that will leave you, hey, wait, what? Are you not going to go back to that at all? Screen Rex, Videodrome, but make it Vaporwave. Yeah, so there are a lot of people using the David Lynch connection here. And trust me, guys, I never looked at this. I never looked at the tomato meter before coming here. Richard Krause, I Saw the TV Glow is audacious in its execution, introspective in its narrative, and interesting in its aesthetic. But it's also a bit of a schlep, more ambitious than actually and then it is entertaining. Yeah. Is there anybody else here of repute that jumps off the page at me? Uh, Roper. Okay. It's equal parts psychological horror film, 1990s TV nostalgia trip, coming of age story, and dysphoria allegory. Yeah. But it is worth seeing because of Justice Smith. That's what I would say. I Saw the TV Glow isn't as scary as it seems, but it's a very original film about obsessive escapism and denial of one's true identity. So I feel like I've pretty much nailed it on the head as to what this movie's about, right? The plot has more mystery than suspense. Viewers must be willing to interpret the movie's LGBTQ symbolism, and I thought I did a fairly good job of interpreting that myself. I thought I did. William Bibiani, it reaches inside your imagination and stirs it around, making new connections between familiar concepts. It's just not. It's not just great. It's fascinating and revelatory. Well, I don't know if it's revelatory is a bit much for me, because as I said, it's a bit of a tough watch, and there are parts in the middle of Act Two where I was looking at my watch, going, "Okay, where are we going with this? Give me something cohesive that will sink me in and make me want to finish watching this." And it does, but it just takes a little while. It's missing some beats, I feel. Matt Donato, I Saw the TV Glow as a melancholic dedication to a generation raised by surreal television, unrealities, and suburban decay. Okay, so you get the impression. Yeah. Now, I'm not as high as, say, the critics with this. The critics really like this at 84%. I'm not there. I think I'm probably going to be a little bit more towards what the audience is saying. Not 6% though, because we're already sitting at 5.5. If you are curious about this, it's worth checking out at least once on streaming. 6 out of 10. So maybe I am with the audience. But I don't know if this is a theatrical experience. And because they use TV shows, I would say that perhaps maybe it would be better received on the smaller screen. Fred Durst shows up as the father in a couple of scenes. Okay. Wasn't very impactful of a performance. I Saw the TV Glow. It's not a terrible film. It's nowhere near the best film of the year. Like, I'm sorry, Doom Part 2 is still taking the cake on that one, guys. Because but these are two very different types of films. Like, if I were to rate this on a Dune scale, it would be below 5, and I'm not. I'm being I'm conceding some stuff here, and a lot of it is in the story and the way that the story unfolds narratively. And I'm familiar with noir. I'm familiar with abstract storytelling, narratives unfolding in different ways. So while I could digest it, I don't think everybody could. So there you go. I Saw the TV Glow. I'm not ungrateful, or I never walked out of it going, "Oh God, that's terrible," like I just did for The Strangers Chapter 1. I talk about that. Yeah. So if you like these movie reviews, guys, we just did a review for If, and we do this live. So yeah, 6 out of 10 for I Saw the TV Glow. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments below, and we will talk about it. And if you do like this kind of stuff, guys, come join us here on Mirror Domains, where we talk about stuff like the new Superman suit. We do trailer reactions for this, well, The Rings of Power Season 2 and House of the Dragon Season 2. Megalopolis trailer. Hey, you like abstract stuff. Francis Ford Coppola is going to deliver something like this. Ilk. Coming soon. We'll talk about one of the worst movies of the year, The Strangers Chapter 1. Oi! You want to see me not like a film, go check out my review for that, because I was unkind. And of course, then we just did our review for If, and now I Saw the TV Glow. Movie reviews for one of my favorite movies of the year, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. We did series reactions for Fallout. And of course, then we do movie news throughout the week, where we talk about all the trending movie news headlines of the day. So if you like what you've seen, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and I'll see you next time right here on Mirror Domains. All right, so I kind of want to move on and take a look at what we're looking at, what we're being poised here for the long weekend's box office. If conjures up 1.7 million on Thursday night previews, that's not good. Typically, you would want around 5 million. The better films make 7.5 and higher. Like I expect Furiosa next week to be in that 5 to 7 million for Thursday night previews. Strangers Chapter 1 is 1 million, and Strangers is going to get absolutely roasted at the oh, it's down to 13% now. I think when I did my materials yesterday, it was 19%. Then, and during it, it was like it dropped down to 18%. Now it's down to 39% overall. And guys, if you want to watch my reviews for this, I said it's a straight up remake of the original, and it doesn't add anything new to the table. It uses just the basic horror cliches. It's the Nickelodeon version of The Strangers that could be shown on primetime TV because it's that tame. But we'll take a look at the box office numbers on Monday, because I will be back on Monday, guys. We'll be doing a Monday show. Yeah, I'm working tomorrow, so there'll be no shows tomorrow. But yeah, Strangers 1.2 million. That's not good for that. But I think it had a budget of like 8 million. 9 million for an 8.5 million budgeted Rennie Harlan film, but that's just for the first film, I think, because they shot all three back to back for Strangers, in which I'm with the consensus here, where I don't have any interest in watching Strangers Chapter 2. Like, I really don't. Maybe out of morbid curiosity, but I don't want to pay full price for it at a matinee, maybe, or on a cheap Tuesday. I expect Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes to walk away from this. We looked at Friday the trajectory of If, and it was slated to be around 30 million. And I don't even know if it's going to make that. I think If is going to probably be 20 to 25 million, which means Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes may have enough in the tank to retain number one. Then it'll be If. And then I think it'll be Fall Guy, and then maybe Strangers. That's what I'm thinking. Because Strangers is, it's going to get us horror fans and people who've never seen a horror movie before. But then us horror fans are not going to go back to revisit it. So it's going to have a steep drop off. I hope Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes holds on to retain the number one spot. Yeah, and then If will probably be number two. Like, will I be shocked if takes number one? It is a long weekend. If may get into that spot because of the 3 days, and Strangers will be higher because of the 3 days. But we'll have to wait and see where the chips fall. It didn't seem like a very solid home run for this weekend. Let's take a look at Friday's numbers. What do we got that for that? No, If was at 10 million. So okay, so then yeah, maybe If can make the 30 million. Kingdom was 6.8. Strangers was 5. So yeah, Strangers, if it had an 8.5 million budget, it's going to make it back. But it's going to have a steep drop off. And due to the critical reception, I hope, well, they can't, because they shot all three. It's not like the Exorcist Believer situation, where it's kind of like, ugh, yeah, it made money, but nobody liked it, so we got to change direction. They can't change direction with Strangers Chapter 2, unless they go back and reshoot now. And I would do that. I would be like, okay, no, we're reshooting stuff. We're altering the story. In fact, we're going to kill off the girl instead of the guy, and we're going to let the guy continue on. That's the way I would go back. I would just go massage that. Anyway, what a terrible movie, Strangers. I'm sorry. Back to Black is also getting really poor tomato score. So I passed. I'm passing on the Amy Winehouse biopic, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's 2 hours. If it was an hour and 40 minutes, perhaps I would go see it. It's going to make more internationally, maybe. But I agree with the sentiment that it's a sensationalized version of what happened to her. So I'm really not interested in that, and I would rather go see the documentary. Yep. All right, let's go over to the Twitterverse and see if we missed anything trending out there. Selena Gomez received standing ovation at Cannes following premiere of Emilia Perez. Well, good for her. You know I like Selena here. That's good. Selena Gomez at the premiere of Emilia Perez. Yeah, we talked about that last week on the show. Wow. Wow. Look at that necklace. Wow. It's like taking away from the beauty of her face. You can't take your eyes off that. Cool. We do like Selena here. We'll give that the old heart. Selena at Cannes. Margaret Qualley, Kinds of Kindness, photo call at Cannes. Emma Stone, Kinds of Kindness. Hunter Schafer. Anya Taylor-Joy. Emma Stone. Laura Dern and Margaret Qualley to star in Forever Interpreted, limited series at Netflix, based on the best-selling novel, Forever Interpreted. Yorgos Lanthimos gets a standing ovation. A 2-for-3 ticket deal for challengers will take place Sunday. 2-for-3. Oh, so if two of you are there, then you get a third person in for 3 because they're trying to capitalize on the thruple. Did I just spit? Yeah, whatever. It's not really about a thruple, guys. It's more about tennis. Yeah. Hate to break it to you. Liam Hemsworth for Furiosa. They're encouraging his brother, Chris, and Luke Hemsworth. Ooh, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez out together in Hollywood. Yeah, I guess the reports of them getting a divorce is kind of like, well, take that. That's what they say. Holy moly, Anya Taylor-Joy, for crying out loud. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious. Look at that. Furiosa, good reviews, guys. Good reviews. Kinds of Kindness is 100%. Martin Scorsese and Timothée Chalamet, yeah, because they shot a Chanel commercial together. All right. Mamadou Achi for Kinds of Kindness. Jesse Plemons. Kirsten Dunst for Kinds of Kindness. Look at those shiny shoes. Wow. Hong Chow, Joe Alwyn, Hunter Schafer, Kinds of Kindness. Emma Stone, Hunter Schafer. So a lot of premiere stuff here. I guess we didn't really miss any big headlines, did we? Did we break anything? Challengers already for rent on VOD for $20. Well, it's not worth $20, guys. If contributing to summer woes with projected 31.5 million. What? Friday you were saying it's going to be 30 million and that's going to be okay. Now all of a sudden it's not going to be. Yeah, I don't know if I buy that. Anything else jump off at the page of me here? Steve Buscemi's attacker arrested and charged. Good. Yeah, I don't know what like. If you like somebody, or even if you don't like their work, like I would never physically do anything like this. So good that they got arrested. And who doesn't like Steve Buscemi? Why? Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Kevin Durant talks Proxima Caesar's future and not viewing him as the bad ape. Hey, I like Bad Ape from War of the Planet of the Apes. Bill Maher says he doesn't understand Harrison Butker's graduation speech. Oh yeah, this is the guy from the stupid Kansas City Chiefs who had like a graduation speech saying that he owes his career to his stay-at-home wife. Well, when you make millions and millions of dollars, yes, your wife can stay home and take care of the kids. But then it went on to, he also went on to make statements about it being a religious kind of thing, where it's kind of like she should be serving him kind of stuff. And I was like, ugh, get out of here with that. So Bill Maher doesn't understand the criticism of that. What else is going on out here? Variety. Emilia Perez dazzles. Nothing really there, guys. I'm not seeing a whole lot here. Attackers are not movie fans. They attack strangers because they will get released from jail and pay no consequences. Yeah. If is struggling to find an audience. Well, my theater was, well, it wasn't packed this afternoon. It was not even half full, but it was the right crowd, younger crowd. Fall Guy is already set for VOD. Paul Walter Hauser has talked to wrestling legend Mick Foley about biopic. No, okay. This Paul Walter Hauser's taking on way too much stuff. His face is going to be all over the place and be like, people will get tired of it. Like, you got to learn to evenly spread yourself out. 28 years later, yeah, we know that's coming. Yeah, there's been a lot of new set photos of Stranger Things season 5 released. Do we have any pictures here that's released? Yeah, there's Natalia Dyer and Charlie Heaton. I like Natalia Dyer. Wow, that's weird. Visual effects shot. The 5th and final season, Optimus. Stephen King adaptation The Monkey has been picked up by Neon at Cannes Market, based on the short story. Save the Green Planet remake confirmed. Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons to star in Yorgos Lanthimos' project. Wow, she really likes working with Yorgos now all of a sudden. So it's kind of like we've got a Leonardo DiCaprio Scorsese pairing here with actor and director between Yorgos Lanthimos and Emma Stone. Before, he used to work with Colin Farrell. That would be cool if Colin Farrell would get in on that, because they work well together. 5 older movies that look amazing in 4K, and you're going to submit that True Lies, it looks okay in 5K or in 4K. I don't know, guys. Some of those rear projection shots may not. The Crow, I don't know if that would either. True Romance. Jaws. I don't think. See, Jaws doesn't. I don't. Because of how obviously fake the shark looks. That's one of the things that we overlook as movie fans, how bad the shark looks at times. Because the rest of the story is so compelling. The acting is so compelling. You're kind of like, we give the shark effects a pass. True Lies, really. Cameron did a lot of rear projection stuff. And I don't know if that will hold up under the scrutiny of 4K. Okay, no. Flash Gordon 1980 would not. No, it didn't even look good in the time that it came out. Flash! Ah! No. Flash final fight, especially when they're all flying at the end. It looked very, well, I hate to say George Corman, but talking about rear projection here, that's what's going on there, guys. So yeah, that's just like a big screen behind them, and they're on on ropes and stuff. Flash Gordon is ripe for a remake, though. They need, with today's effects, could this ever look good? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Because, yeah, I don't know what you're smoking over there at Joe Blow. Awesome art we found around the net. Barbarella, Fall Guy. Daredevil Born Again. We'll be watching that. Doom Prophecy. Twisters, Glenn Powell. Yeah. Signs. Oh, yeah, Dabney Coleman passed on at 92. Dabney Coleman. I liked him in Hot to Trot. I was watching a couple of clips of him the other day, and sorry that the quality is so terrible here, but he was wearing like prosthetic teeth in this.
Freddie, you can't be a broker.
Why not?
Because who in the right mind would give you their money?
You'd be quite surprised.
I would be frigging amazed.
Yeah, so he's like wearing fake teeth there. Bobcat Goldthwait and John Candy, a movie that has a talking horse that gives him stock advice. Oh, yeah, it's totally audacious. And if you get a chance to see it, it's worth seeing. So Dabney Coleman plays a bad guy in that. And I don't know what Bobcat Goldthwait was smoking during this, but it does have some laughs in it. It does. It's maybe like a guilty pleasure of mine.
Fred P. What is my name? My name is Fred P.
Yeah, he's trying to give this big. He's trying to give this big inspirational speech, and he loses his train of thought. He's like, well, wait a minute, what is my name? And then like Dabney Coleman just helps sell it, right? We're like, excuse me, you don't know your own name? Yeah. Yeah. Rest in peace, Dabney Coleman. Of course, he was in 9 to 5 as well, right? All right, guys, I think that's all I have in the can for today. It's just a quick show. I'll cut up the 2 movie reviews and put it up separately. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will be back on Monday, probably like around 11 a.m.-ish, because the gym doesn't open until 8 in the morning, so I'll be working out. I got to do my chest. So I probably won't get out until 10 o'clock. Well, actually, maybe in the afternoon, because it is a holiday. Maybe we'll do an afternoon show on Monday. I'll just take it easy. But next week, Atlas opens up. Furiosa. We'll be taking a look for that. Bifer in the live chat there says, thanks for the show. Well, yeah, you're welcome, man. This is why I do the show. Enjoy the rest of your long weekend there, guys. Thumbs up, and I'll see you next time right here on Mirror Domains.